Hey, this is Prometheus giving you a defensive tip strategy for the pre-release of Madden 17. Now, a lot of this is going to be purely speculation, but over the past few years, a lot of the same concepts have carried over from previous Madden. So I'm going to show you some base blitzes and ways to set up your blitzes to be able to get some pressure immediately as soon as the game releases on speculation. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things I'm going to show you. Now, I chose the New England playbook primarily because the versatility has a 34 to 43, and I'll show you a couple blitzes that I should be able to translate over to the Madden 17 immediately. Another thing I want to show you is basically a concept that if it is basically a concept that's going to be utilized in Madden, it's going to be a concept that's pretty universal, and it's an NFL concept. So let's go ahead and show it to you. One of the coolest little blitzes, the easiest blitzes to set up in the game in Madden 16, and I'm hoping it's going to be 17, is going to be the mid blitz, which is going to be a mad blitz, and you're going to basically bluff. You're going to do a fake bluff with one of your defenders. Now, one of the fastest and easiest blitzes to set up in this game was out of the double A gap set. You can see the two linebackers are actually in the A gaps of the offensive line, and you've got a nice spread defensive line. And the reason why this is so easy to set up is because there was really no setup whatsoever. The adjustment on this was to go ahead and QB contain, which was basically hitting your left trigger and then hitting the right bumper where you see where it says QB contain in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, and you'd have basically a look like this. The offensive line had to account for 6 blockers, but what made this blitz so easy to set up is that you'd actually go ahead and pull your defensive lineman down, and you'd actually use a bluff blitz, and you bluff blitz by actually either holding your left trigger or by holding your right trigger over the offensive line, and basically the offensive line had to account for you. So what was great about this play is that you had someone who was actually quick hiking you. You were able to get easy edge pressure off the edge against him. So if you take a look right here, you can see the pressure just comes off the edge. If you sent 6, basically, if the tackle here had to compensate for you because you're bluff blitzing, and it actually froze, allowing the edge pressure to come off the edge and basically get an easy pressure. So your opponent had to adjust block 6, sometimes 7, to actually set this up. Now the problem with this blitz is it was man coverage. And if you made a fast read, if he was going to be going for a drag route or something like that, actually he could be able to get that off. But it was a good blitz to throw in, especially in long down situations where he had to get some depth with his pressure. But as you can see, I actually was able to go ahead and move away and actually take away maybe as a crossing read and actually come down for the running back. So it was just a very easy blitz to set up. Now the key to this is the bluff blitz. The bluff blitz is a strategy. If you're not using it, you should have been already, but it is basically hovering over an offensive lineman, and that's going to be the key to actually going ahead and establishing pressure in Madden 17, I hope, because basically it is an NFL concept. If you have a defensive back or a linebacker in a gap, that offensive lineman has to account for him in the blocking scheme, and he's going to freeze for a second because he has to make sure that he accounts for him, because he's just that you just can't just assume, oh, he's going to go back in coverage. You have to account for him in your blocking scheme. So that's why bluff blitz is the key to having an effective defensive formation, so you can get that pressure off the edge. So if you go into your playbooks and you see that you have a double A gap, you might want to go ahead and lab that immediately just to see if that blitz actually will get the pressure off the edge, because it's a nice little go-to blitz to be able to use against your opponents. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the 43. You could basically use this concept. This is a blitzing concept that I used a lot in my series when I was breaking down either the Buccaneers playbook or the Cowboys playbook, but it was 43. It's either going to be under or over. What I like to do is I like to pressure off the left-hand side, primarily because most players don't flip their formations on a regular basis, so they're always going to go with the way the play comes out, and they see it. So I want to go ahead and take the pressure off the left edge. Now, what's good about this particular this blitz, the 43 blitz that I had really good success with, is that it's universal. I can build this blitz out in any particular formation I want. I usually would take it out of the fire zone 2 is one of my base plays, or maybe the will press 3. So let's just go ahead and show you how I set this up. under the wheel press 3, and why this blitz is effective and why you have to utilize the Bluff Blitz to be able to go ahead and get it set up correctly. Alright, so this is basically going to be your alignment. You've got 5 linemen coming down in this particular blitz, and what we want to do is we want to go and make it so that the offensive lineman cannot account for everybody, allowing me to get pressure off the left hand side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit my left bumper button, and that's going to be my defensive line shift. I'm going to take my left stick and flip it to the left and take the defensive line in. Now if you take a look at the defensive lineman, my defensive end is actually over the left shoulder of the left tackle, and then I've got basically both the defensive tackles that are actually in the A gaps, and then my right tackle, my right end is actually over the right tackle. So really what I need to do is I need to overcompensate this line, because this line can shift to go ahead and take away from that blitz. So what the trick of this blitz is actually taking a defender and sliding him in the gap right here using Bluff Blitz right there. Now this right guard has to compensate. For the blitzing linebacker. The other guard actually, the center actually has to compensate for this guy right here, and then the left guard has to compensate for this guy over here, leaving the edge open. And as you can see right there, that linebacker is wide open. Now one of the other things I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the blitzing angles are correct. So I'm actually going to go ahead and change my blitzing angles. I'm going to hit the left bumper button, and then I'm going to go ahead and crash middle. Now I had a subscriber ask me about how crashing, but I'm assuming it's going to be the same steps. Left bumper, and then hit the right stick down, and you're going to get a little bit of different blitzing angle than we had set up before. So basically the tackles are going into the gaps, they've got to be compensated for it, and then I've got these guys crashing down a little bit. So, and another thing that's actually a very easy thing to set up, and most of these blitzes actually have the same setup. For some particular reason, QB contained makes the guys off the edge just come off a little bit faster. So that's one of the reasons we're going to do this. But let's go ahead and take a look at this blitz so you can see this firsthand and why the Bluff Blitz is going to be the basis of setting up your blitzes for Madden 17. Alright, so once again, because you're using Bluff Blitz, even though that defender is actually in coverage, you're going to take him out of that coverage. This right guard has to compensate for that bluff. So leaving one-on-one blocking across on the left-hand side. So this guy has to block, crash down. Left guard has to crash down. And this is basically putting 2 guys on an island. So this is going to essentially force your opponent to go ahead and take his running back out of the formation, or he's going to get some fast pressure. Now in the Cowboys series recently, in the past few months, I had very good success with this blitz, especially with fast, athletic linebackers. The pressure just got in there, and my opponent was forced to make reads very quickly, or actually go ahead and scramble out. And because there's this QB contain, he's going to get the outside shoulder and actually go ahead and stop any kind of run to the outside. You see how he's actually got that outside shoulder? So if this quarterback rolls, he's going to release off his block and go ahead and try to take him away. So that's why I do like this blitz. But it all comes down to, once again, is the Bluff Blitz. The Bluff Blitz is going to be one of the key things that you need to go ahead and incorporate in your blitzing to be able to stop that. So that, this guy right here, the Bluff Blitzer, is going to be the key to freeze. You can see that guard freezes right there. He just freezes, and that's not that he's just basically just a useless blocker, and I can still send 5 and get pressure in. So if you are running a 43 defense, you want to go ahead and check out, see if you can set that concept up. If you can set that concept up, then that means you actually have set automatic pressure that you can use out of the 43 going into Madden 17. So go ahead and check that out immediately. Now 34 was one of the defenses I really loved running in Madden 15, but I just kind of got out of it. And one of the things with 34 basically was the most overpowering play was the scrape. Was a Mike Scrape 3 press defense. This defense was overpowering, but the problem with it was glitchy. It was glitchy because you really couldn't block effectively. It was forcing you to go and block and motion guys stuff out. So EA realized that they actually had a glitch blitz that they had to correct. So EA wants to go ahead and make the game more realistic. So you know, I'm not going to show you, for the sake of this breakdown, I'm not showing you A-gap blitzes, because A-gap blitzes, for the outside of just a blown blocking assignment, A-gap blitzes in this game have always been some kind of glitch blitz where the guys never get picked up. So Mike Scrape 3, I actually had probably one of my top videos viewed. I had a little bit over 21,000 views based on basically on a different setup of it when I played against a Madden Challenge finalist. He basically set it up where it was very easy adjustments. It was easy to set up, and it's just very difficult to stop. But I'm not going to show you this. I'm going to actually show you a couple other blitzes. I'm going to show you the 34 odd, which is going to be the Will Sam 3 and the pinch O buck O, and then the 34 under, which is going to be the free safety slant and the strong safety scrape 3. These are some blitzes that I ran before in the past, and they essentially is going to be giving you pressure off the edge, forcing your opponent to make some pretty massive adjustments. So one of the easiest blitzes that I had success with initially, and this basically changed my game, was this blitz right here, which is the Will Sam 3. The Will Sam 3. What I like about it is it's easy. It's a very easy blitz to set up. You basically have 3 steps. It does send 6, but the pressure does come off the edge, and it's very difficult for your opponent to compensate for it without blocking a tight end or running back. He's going to have to make very fast adjustments. So let's go ahead and show you how this works. Alright, so basically the blitz looks like this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to base a line by hitting the Y or the triangle button and taking the left stick and flipping it off to the left. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to show blitz by the same look, we're going to go hitting the Y or triangle button and taking the left stick and showing blitz. And this is going to give you basically a big front like this, okay? Now, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and blitz our strong safety off to the right hand side. So if you see over the tackle and the tight end, you've got 2 blitzers. That strong safety is doing a wide 9 stance. He's doing a 9 position because he's outside of the shoulder of the tight end. We'll do that by actually going ahead, and you can do that with either hitting the Y or triangle button. And this is going to go ahead and show you coverage adjustments. You can do a quick adjustment by hitting the Y or triangle button again, and then you can see the defender, which is Conte, that's coming off the edge. We're going to go ahead and select him, and then we're going to go ahead and do the right stick down for blitz, and it's going to give you a look like this. Now, another trick to the game of Madden is the QB contain, and the QB to contain is hitting the left trigger and then hitting the right bumper QB contain, and you'll have a look like this. Now, for some particular reason, when you do this, the blitz actually shows up a little bit easier. Now, you don't actually have to, because you've got the nose tackle that's over the center, and you've got these guys that are actually look like they're in a 3 position, I believe, because they're in a 3 position. They're over the right shoulder, left shoulder, the outside shoulder of the guards. They're actually going to take up those blockers right there, and because Alexander's coming in the blitz too, that tackle is going to be taken away, and then you've got an outside blitzer with David off the left hand side, so he's going to compensate that. So the only person that can actually take out Conte is going to be the tight end, which most people don't block their tight ends, or the running back. So if you got a guy that's running a lot of 5 wide receiver or 5 receiver sets, you can actually get some fairly easy pressure. And what's good about this is because it is a big front. It's an 8-man front. You got 8 guys in a box. You bring down a 9th guy in the box. Nobody's going to run against it, so they're probably going to go in a passing formation. But let's just go ahead and take a look at how quickly this pressure gets off the edge with kind of a below average strong safety. So once again, this is a very easy blitz to set up. It's 3 steps, so you can set this blitz up very quick. It doesn't take much time. You could, even if a person's doing a no-huddle offense, you can be able to get that blitz off. But you can see the strong safety gets off the line. Now, I don't think Conte is very fast in this game. I think he's maybe 85, 86 speed, 87 at max. So if you've got a faster safety that's got like 93 speed, that pressure is going to get in very fast, especially very good acceleration, especially he'll probably just go right off the edge of that tackle that's taking a block. But you can see all these people are actually getting accounted for, and then you've got yellow coverages that are basically taking away your opponent's reads. So basically only allowing him to hit the flat. So this is one of the easiest blitzes to set up. I would go ahead, once I get into the game, I'm going to lab to see if these blitzes actually work immediately, because if they do, it's just something that you can add to your arsenal with your blitz. And you don't have to bluff blitz on this one. This is great about this particular blitz is there's no bluff blitz whatsoever. Alright, so once again, very easy blitz to set up. Very easy blitz to set up, but the problem with this particular blitz is that eventually your opponent's going to figure out that the flats are wide open or some of the seams are wide open. So one of the things you can do to actually establish a defensive scheme out of the 34 odd is actually go ahead and switch it up into a man blitz. And with the man blitz, basically it's going to be pretty much the same thing. Let's just go ahead and baseline and show blitz. We're essentially giving the same look once again. But this time what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this guy right here and we're going to go ahead and put him down in the gap and watch how this defensive line is actually going to go ahead and get in a free release, because this is actually switching this over to a punch or a pinch buck O is going to be switching it over. And the only difference now is that I'm actually doing man read. So if he's actually going to try to go ahead and hit me in the flat or whatever, that actually I'm going to go ahead and be able to take that away. So watch this play. You can watch the action right here, and as the edge pressure comes off the edge off the left hand side. Right, so once again, this tackle is going to have to compensate for this extra blitzer right here. So he's actually compensating for me. So the bluff blitz, once again, the key factor, the bluff blitz will actually go ahead and give you a second to go ahead and mess up the blocking assignments. That's leaving this blitzing linebacker right here and this blitzing linebacker right here coming through the gaps to go ahead and get a free release on the quarterback, because these guys all have to crash down for this defensive lineman. He's got to crash down for this defensive lineman. It's really messed up this line as far as this blocking assignments. Matter of fact, these guys don't even know what to do with this guy coming in delayed blitz. So what's great about this is, once again, it is man coverage. And I'm actually completely out of position, but by that time the quarterback is already hit, so it's pretty much over with. But man coverage is actually going with this defender right here, even though he's got inside position, but the man coverage is going across the field. So if you have an opponent that tries to flip into flats, you can jump into this play very quickly out of your audibles with the pinch blitz plan. So that's what's great about using a 34 odd. So let's go ahead and jump into the 34 under, and I'm going to show you some other outside blitzes with the safeties that are probably going to be something that you can utilize in the game too. Alright, so in the 34 under, there's basically two blitzes I want to show to you. I'm going to show you the free safety slant 3. This is another easy blitz to set up. It only takes about 4 steps, but it's a very easy blitz to set up, and it will get your pressure off the edge. And you use the bluff blitz to go ahead and provide yourself a little bit extra time, but the pressure will get off the edge. And then you want to go ahead and check probably the next blitz, which is going to be the strong safety scrape 3. Now this takes a couple more adjustments, and you're actually showing your opponent what your intentions are by doing it. But sometimes you will get those B gaps, those B gap blitzes, because it will mess up blocking assignments. We'll see how Madden 17 works out, but I just want to let you know that this is probably going to be one of the more unsure blitzes in the game, whether it's actually going to work in Madden 17. Alright, so this is the blitz right here, which is going to be the free safety slant. And basically you see the safety comes down. Now sometimes what you can do is you can baseline and show blitz, and the safety comes back up again, but you can bring the safety down to the offensive line. Now the problem though is that the offensive line knows that it needs to make a shift to go ahead and to prevent shift, basically taking on those guys, those blockers. But you need to get this free safety free. So what you do is you actually shift your defensive line by hitting the left bumper and shifting them to the left by hitting the left stick, and you'll get the shift like that. But what really the key to it is still that they still can shift over because of the angles. So the next step you do is go ahead and hit your left bumper for your defensive line, and your right stick down to crash middle, crash down, crash middle, same thing. And now you're going to get a look like this. So this defensive tackle right here is actually going into the A gap. this defensive tackle is going into the A gap, and this defensive tackle is going into the B gap, and now you've got edge pressure off the edge. Now, another thing you can do is you can go ahead and do QB contain. Sometimes you can actually leave without that. Now, the last thing you can do is you can take this defender right here and bluff blitz. Once again, that's going to preoccupy that tackle, not allowing the line to actually go ahead and make any kind of adjustment at all. And you should see the pressure actually get into the edge by the free safety. It's very, very fast pressure off the left hand side. All right, so just a couple of steps right there, but once again, I freeze up this tackle right here by the bluff blitz, and that's the one thing that actually will make it key to all these plays. And because I freeze that up and I've just got different zones dropping back, it takes away the seam, route, and then now I can go ahead and take my guy. This guy's going to be floating up into the deep crossing route, and now I'm going to go ahead and take away the running back is going to be essentially the area I'm going to go. But by that time, especially if you got a fast free safety, someone with 90 speed or more, he's going to go ahead and just get that edge pressure on the left side off the side, because this tackle has to compensate for two people. And because of the way the blocking assignment is set up with the guard, the center, and the guard, they have to compensate for each one of these players so they don't let up the easy A gap. Alright, so the last play we're going to look at is going to be the strong safety scrape 3, and it will try to get you like a B gap inside that offensive tackle. It is not going to be the most consistent blitz that you're going to be able to go ahead and get, primarily because it's just got a weird setup. It's got a couple more steps, and I'm sure they're going to try to go ahead. EA is going to try to go ahead and try to defend against the B gaps and the A gap blitzes. That's where they're going to try to go ahead and get rid of the glitches. But this blitz actually is fairly easy setup, but it's a little bit more complicated than the last ones. So with this blitz, we're going to do the following adjustments. Now, the blitz automatically, the defender actually rolls down, which is going to come off the blitz right there. And you could really pretty much, if you wanted edge pressure on this blitz, you could leave it the same way. But the key to this blitz is actually getting some inside pressure and just having a blitzer coming off in a weird position. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our defensive line, we're going to shift them off to the left. We do that once again by hitting the left bumper and taking the left stick and flipping them to the left. And then actually we'll go ahead and take the defensive line. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our out linebackers, we're going to shift them to the right. So we're going to hit the right bumper button, and then take the left stick and click to the right, and this is actually going to go ahead and put these guys off to an angle like this. Now the next step is we're going to go ahead and take our blitzing strong safety, we're going to just slide them in like that and click off. And that's going to go ahead and have dual pressure right there with kind of weird angles. You've got the safety that's going to be going off the edge of the tight end, and then basically the linebacker is going to be going inside of the tight end, actually into the C gap. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and show bluff blitz, and I like to go ahead and use the yellow zone, which is going to be in the center, and I'm going to go ahead and hover over this guard right here. That way he has to compensate for those angles. So let's just go ahead and snap the ball and see what happens with this blitz. We get the nice little pressure off the edge, and Roethlisberger actually goes and shreds it off, but you can see how that. So once again, bluff blitz is going to be the key. You want to go ahead and test bluff blitzing immediately to see if you can actually go ahead and get additional blocker compensating for the bluff blitz. So as you can see right here, he freezes the guard, and then we have basically this center right here and this guard actually go ahead and compensating for that crash to the inside, and we've got a fourth blocker right here compensating for the other defender. So these guys are all just in a muddled mess right here, and because this play is verticals, the running back is going into a muddled mess right here too. So because this tight end is actually releasing and going into a passing route, this leaves this tackle, this right tackle, on an island by himself against basically two defenders, and he chooses to take the outside defender because usually that's what the tackle's jobs are to do, is to actually go ahead and support, take away the edge rusher, giving this guy a free release to the quarterback. So this is just basic concepts. I think the most important thing out of all these concepts, and that's why I started with it at first, was the bluff blitz. You want to go ahead and incorporate bluff blitzes into your defensive schemes. That's going to be something I'm going to be testing immediately when I go ahead and get Madden 17. It's going to be something I'm going to lab immediately, and if I start finding blitzes that you can work immediately to help you get some pressure against your opponent, I'll show those blitzes to you immediately here on Yacht Gaming. If you guys do like this support, I want you to go ahead and make sure you subscribe to my channel. One of the things that makes my channel unique opposed to other channels is that I actually go ahead and show you live games with the schemes that I build out, so you can see how effectively I run the schemes that I show you. I'm not showing you some kind of a money tip, quote unquote money tip, and seeing that and that's it. It's the money tip is the best thing to slice bread. I want a dozen games with it. No, you get to see me using the schemes, such as the blitzing schemes or the defensive schemes or the offensive schemes against live opponents, and you can see how effective they are, where I make mistakes, where opponents adjust to them, and how people shut them down or how they can't shut them down. So to my subscribers, I really appreciate the support. If you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'll be rolling out video content for Madden 17 on a regular basis. Once again, thanks for your support. Until next time.